Shalom, everybody. Welcome. Aquaaba, Etesen, uh, Habari, Jambo, mimi ni Kofi, nina furaha kukutana na wewe. Hola, mi nombre es Kofi, je m'appelle, or I'm sorry, bonjour, je m'appelle Kofi. Hello, this is Kofi Osayu, I see you, all that great stuff. Ni hao, namaste, hotep for those who prefer that. We're on today. This will be on YouTube later as well. There's going to be a quick version of the live. We do quick versions in the evening time. So thank you for joining us. Hey, shalom, Sister Cherise. Shalom, Yannette Muniz. Awesome. I hope I said that correctly. Hello, Tammy. How are you doing? Hello, Money. Hello, Kalila. Shalom, Mark. Akon. Or Akano, I'm not sure. Akona Adam. So we're excited to have everybody on Ransom. And even though I'm a couple days late, we're still going to make sure that we do justice to a topic that people have been talking about. And it's always interesting, the conversation around this, because basically you got to comprehend what we're about to talk about only falls into one or two categories. Before that, may the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in Yahweh's sight. He is our strength and our redeemer, and it's in his name, which is his authority, that we pray, praise, proclaim, project, and protect this message. Amen. All honor to the Most High. All honor to the Most High for my wife, the Honorable Maya, who lives a life that's able to be honored. All honor to my family, to each and every one of you, to our community, to those who agree with this, disagree with this, etc., etc. We appreciate you all. And today we're going to talk about Christopher Columbus, or Columbus Day, right? I know I'm a couple days after or whatever. I don't even know where Columbus Day falls. I'm assuming it was a couple days ago, because I had all these people that I saw all these posts that said Happy Indigenous Day, but that could just be because that's when I decided to pay attention. I'm not sure. But let's deal with Columbus Day, and Columbus Day will be in quotation marks. It is on TikTok. It will be on YouTube. It was on Monday. Okay. Which some people will say, don't say Columbus Day, call it Indigenous Day, which is like every day is Indigenous Day. But I guess you're trying to cover it up. I don't need this Indigenous Day or whatever to fall on a specific holy day, because I'm Indigenous, and therefore every day is Indigenous, right? But this thing about Columbus Day really just falls into one or two categories. And I won't say, well, let's not peg everybody into two categories. Let's not do the ad hominem thing, right? Let's say it like this. If you're dealing with Columbus Day, you're basically dealing with three specific things for the most part. You're either dealing in ignorance, you're either dealing in greatness, or what we call good, or you're dealing in evil. That's really all there is to Christopher Columbus, because here's the thing: people try to act like Christopher Columbus' story is something that nobody knew about, and they try to put all these spins. And the weird thing is when you have indigenous or even black people who try to put a weird spin on Christopher Columbus. But Christopher Columbus, if you're thinking about Christopher Columbus, no matter what your political affiliation is, no matter what your race or religion is, no matter what your creeds that you say are, he only falls into three categories, because we know enough about Christopher Columbus, a lot of stuff that maybe some people don't know. So that's why I said ignorance is one category. Either you're dealing with greatness, as far as dealing with good and saying that, hey, he was a bad dude, or you're dealing in evil and you support evil. That's kind of the only three places you can fall with Christopher Columbus. You can't really fall with him anywhere else. You can't make him something that he himself didn't even say about himself. That's the weird part that I find interesting, is that people won't even look at what Christopher Columbus wrote about himself, and what his son wrote about his father, and what royalty wrote about him, and what the government that put him in jail wrote about him. Which obviously there's stuff that they twist to make sure that they look good, but the reality is you can read between the lines for yourself, and you can look at what history says for itself, right? It's like when people say all this stuff about George Washington being this great man. Well, when George Washington, we know, according to writings about him from the people that worked from him, that he was okay with them beating slaves mercilessly, and saying that if they deserve it, it's fine to almost take their lives during a beating, whether they're a woman or not. We don't have to work that hard, right? So Christopher Columbus has things out about him, and either you're going to fall into one of three categories, whether you like it or not, with him. You're going to fall into a place where he's you're in a good place or at a great place where you're dealing with, hey, I'm too great, or I have too much respect for humanity to uplift somebody like Christopher Columbus. You deal with the place of being ignorant. I just didn't know stuff about him, and therefore I'm speaking on stuff that I don't know. Or you're in a place to where you're dealing with a dude that did evil. Now, unless you're the person that just wants to be smart, as far as like a smart Alex, so to speak, and come out and just be like, oh yeah, what is really good, what is really evil, and I even find it very, it's not comical, but for real, it shows, like a place where you can't really make apologetic statements or arguments that well. When I hear people even get to the place of, well, if you lived in that time, it would have been acceptable. No, it wouldn't. Well, even with that, even though that's a maybe, we can honest. There's people who report, well, that there's a possibility Christopher Columbus was even having sex with manatees, and even a possibility he had sex with a llama, right? And this is not something that historians will shy away from, because there's actually facts that say the way he talked about him and wrote about him and some of the stories that came out about him, he might have been into bestiality. I mean, what he thought were mermaids. Now we don't know this part for sure. Let's just make sure we say that. But what he thought about were mermaids. He thought that they were, or people say that those were really manatees. Now, how do you get a mermaid from a manatee? Some people would say dolphin, but they really, what they say is manatees, because you have manatees in those areas, right? Or he was out here on his Cusco thing, right? How do so he's got so much stuff about him. And once again, either you're ignorant of some things concerning Christopher Columbus, or you're just trying to argue for somebody because you're caping up for a Republican, Democrat Party, white versus black. Why are all these black people always getting on us, and blah, blah, blah. But matter of fact, here's the reason why Columbus Day even exists. Because people don't even know this. We have this weird thing of thinking things have been around forever. Like, for example, if you ask somebody, when did MLK Day start? They would think that, well, probably like right after he died. MLK Day wasn't even accepted by all 50 states until 1992. Some people have told me 1996, but from what I've studied, it's about 1992. And then after all 50 states did it, then they started making sure that they pushed it really hard. So that means that that MLK Day is only, if we go to 90, let's go to 95 just to make it more fair. So, or from what more other people tell me, because I usually go 92. Matter of fact, we'll go 92. That makes it more fair, right? So 92 to 2002 to 2012. Next year will be 2022, which means next year would be 30 years of MLK Day. But if you were to listen to somebody, that's what you would think. It's MLK Day was around, right? Forever. Christopher Columbus Day is relatively new in history. Christopher Columbus Day didn't start in 1492. It didn't start in the 1500s. It didn't start in the 1600s. It didn't start in the 1700s. It did not start in the 1800s. It started in the 1900s. So you got to start asking yourself a question. If Christopher Columbus was not even thought about as anything until the 1900s, right? So we're dealing with 400 to 500 years or so of people not caring about this dude who you were taught in school is everything, is life, is the reason why America exists and all this stuff, even though he never came to America, right? Or what you call the United States of America, right? He never came to certain parts of Turtle Island. So if this is the case, then how in the world is it that in the last 100 years, slightly over 100 years, that all of a sudden Christopher Columbus Day is actually ever became a thing? And now people have to combat it with an Indigenous Day. Why is it even necessary? How did it become necessary if it wasn't too long ago that nobody cared about Christopher Columbus like that? You see what I'm saying? You got to ask yourself those questions. And thank you for the compliment, Raphael. You had to ask yourself those questions. Thanks for being part of the community as you guys are coming on. Thank you for the likes and the shares and being on with us. We appreciate you all. We have to start asking specific questions. Wait a minute. If Christopher Columbus was somebody nobody cared about until about 100 years ago, then when did it start? Why did this start? Right? So let me give you some things that you can go ahead and study and look for reference points on. When it comes to Christopher Columbus, you got to understand that Christopher Columbus basically was a tool that was used by Italian Americans. Now, I'm not here to tell you Italian Americans evil, this and that. I'm just giving you context and contextual facts. Okay, Christopher Columbus Day didn't exist, and there are actually videos of people who helped to make sure Columbus Day came to be. So you can actually listen to them talk about this and talk about the fact that they know that they made a mistake by doing so because they messed up history, because they didn't know who Christopher Columbus actually was. So Italian Americans, when we get past racism only deals in black and white and doesn't have levels to it, right? Just like classism has levels to it. Italian Americans used to be considered to be terrible people. They weren't quite as bad as black people, but they were considered to not be white. Right now, an Italian American brags on the fact that they were able to get over things, but it's because they're now classified pretty much as white. Because white people, once again, they're making less and less children. There's more mixtures going on. The less white people there are, the more people you got to let in, and then redefine what white is, right? But back then, just like before them, an Irish American was almost considered to be like a black person. An Italian American was considered to be a down on the rung. And so Italian Americans, they wanted to have, like at one point there's a Black History Week, and then it became a Black History Month. They wanted like a Italian History Week, or an Italian History Day even, and then go into a week and maybe make it a month and stuff like that. Okay, well, the woman who's talking about it, she says that they were Italian. So if you'd like to be able to tell the woman that was is given credit for helping to bring together people to start Christopher Columbus Day, maybe you can talk to her. Maybe she was Sicilian. I'm not even so Sicilian, Italian. Christopher Columbus had people, because he was a conman. Remember, he was having the Portuguese, the Sicilians, the Italians, people all over the place fighting over who he actually was, right? So that's the reason he actually got put in prison, because he was playing people and trying to get paid from all these countries for doing dirty to the natives and saying that he was going to claim the land for all of them. That's why he actually ended up getting put in prison. So I could see how any of these people could try to identify with him. But so if you want to say I'm wrong with it, I'm just going to stick with what I was given through the reference and through the things I've read, through the things that I watched. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, okay? Study it for yourself. That's why I say don't just believe stuff just because you might like something I say or you might like the way that I give it to you or whatever. Always study to show yourself. And then make sure that the Most High approves with it, right? So this person, if you don't want to give him Italian American, this person who's from somewhere in the vicinity of the world, decides that they're going to go ahead and do what? They're going to go ahead and make Christopher Columbus kind of like their patron saint, if you will. It's going to kind of be something like, we're going to make him this person who's going to represent us as Italian Americans, and we're going to tell everybody that, hey, we know that Christopher Columbus, he discovered America, and he studied the United States of America, and so Americans should go ahead and make sure that they are happy with us, that they are excited about us, that they treat us with respect. They'll stop treating us like we're less than, and they'll treat us like Americans. Okay? Okay, well, I mean, if you want to talk about his story being embellished, I'm not talking about his story yet. So, I'm not talking about his story yet, unless you're saying about, I don't know. We'll just keep on going, because I can't really find out exactly what you're talking about. But basically, we're talking about Christopher Columbus and how he even became a thing. So after that, it became, okay, we're going to teach it about schools, and we're going to make sure Italian Americans could be accepted, and we're going to do this, and we're going to do that, and now we're going to have parades, and we're going to have all these different things. We're going to make sure we write books about it and stuff, how Christopher Columbus discovered America, and then before we knew it, it got out of control. 40, 50 years later, people were like, well, hold up, he never even set foot in America. How did this get to be like this? Why are we going through all this stuff? What are we doing? See what I'm saying? Let it go, bro. Because once again, people, when they find out about Christopher Columbus, you're only one of three categories. You're either going to deal with good, you're going to deal with evil, or you're going to deal in ignorance. And when you, right? So a lot of people say you're popping off, get back in your place. Stop talking about stuff, right? As if it's angry or anything like that. I feel like people should know truth. If some people want to live in ignorance, you let them live in ignorance, right? And thank you for whoever did that. So when you sit there and you talk about Christopher Columbus, you got to understand he was not even, nobody even thought of him as being really the person who discovered America. It wasn't part of anybody's curriculum to teach that he was part, and he had discovered America. It was only after that was pushed, and now you had to have, since it was being pushed in school, you had to have people change history, change geography, change change who he was or what he was, change what the people looked like that he came into contact with, change the people to savages. Remember, like, he came over and killed off a whole group of people. And so they said that Christopher Columbus had to kill him because they were cannibals, when the people weren't cannibals. But Christopher Columbus told them to lie about that, just like Christopher Columbus told the men to tell everybody that they were Indians that they found, when the reality is that they never even were headed to India at all. Right? Think about this. If Christopher Columbus was looking for India, I just want to ask a simple question. Sometimes it's easy to get things if we just ask ourselves simple questions, right? Let me ask you a simple question. You ready? If Christopher Columbus needed to find India, my question would be, did we know where India was before Christopher Columbus went looking for it? Better question. Just better question. Okay? You ready? Just better question for you. Ready? Did Christopher Columbus know where India was before he went looking for it? Right? But better question than that, because he was funded and sent by somebody. Did Spain know where India was on the map? Better question than that, Did the Pope, who gave Spain permission to send Christopher Columbus over, did the Pope know where India was? Right? Now, somebody's saying no. So my question to you would be, do you think that Europe had no knowledge of where India was in general? And I would ask, it's a strong whoever it is. You said, so did Europe know? Did Europe have no knowledge of where India was? Did Rome have no knowledge of where India was? Because the thing that debunks that, see, this is why ignorance comes into play. The thing that debunks that is pretty simple. All you have to do is look up in history, and China and Greece and Rome all have writings about each other and coming into contact with each other and talk about India. Matter of fact, the last Greek empire, or part of the Greek empire that was started by Alexander the Great before it splintered into all the pieces and kept splintering, the last part of the Greek empire that was was originally founded by Alexander the Great, the last one to go down and to go somewhere actually was in India, right? So they knew where India was. They knew they didn't have to sail all the way around the world to get to India. They knew about China as well, right? So think about that. If he already knew where India was, how is he looking for Indians? Now, question for you even further than that. Christopher Columbus, according to his own writings about himself, according to his own diary, right? You said, was it called India then? Yes. That's why he told them to call the natives, he said lie and call them Indians. They knew about India. They knew about China, right? Now, China wasn't necessarily called China, but there were people who considered themselves to be Asian or Asiatic. They knew about them, right? They knew about India. They had the Silk Roads, exactly. You had people that were starting to learn about Buddhism back then. So they knew about it. But here's another question. Here's something else that we don't talk about. Did Christopher Columbus, according to his journal, in 1482, he was already sailing with black men from Africa. And the black men from Africa knew where India was. And they knew how to get to the Americas. That's where he learned how to take the current that he used to get across. Even though he had never done it before, so he ended up messing it up. And I don't know how you mess up when you're just on the current. You can just let it take you, but I guess he thought he knew better than what he was told. Right? But this is written down, written out. We don't have to work that hard to find out about Christopher Columbus. So right from the jump, we have a whole bunch of issues with his story that doesn't make sense. You said Columbus referred to the natives of North America as simpletons, easily manipulated. He referred to them as that, sure. But Christopher Columbus, just like many people did, he reinvents the story of a lot of people, because you don't want people to know that Christopher Columbus was doing things like, raping little girls, and shooting babies. Or I'm sorry, he wouldn't shoot babies in the head. He had his men hit babies in the heads with hammers because it was too much money. It was too expensive to buy bullets. So why would he So why would he basically make sure that his babies were, or his bullets were being wasted on babies because it cost a lot for bullets. So he figured he'd just have his men hit him with hammers. You know, Christopher Columbus said quite a few things. Christopher Columbus said that they were weak and frail and they were easily taken over. Well, if you show up with a whole army and these people are peaceful people who can fight, but they don't fight trying to destroy people with cannons and things like that, then yeah, you show up with that, and yeah, you probably got them. You said, pardon you, you're traveling but dying to respond. Reading, okay. How you doing, Shabbos? Be safe out there. Am I Christian, Jewish, atheist, or something else? If you need me to fit in whatever category you need me to, then I believe in Adash Shemayim. I'm a follower of the way. I am an Israelite. If you want to call me somebody who has Christian tendencies, if you know about me, you probably, if you really knew what I believe, you say no. But I guess that would be the closest because I believe in the Bible. Either way, it has nothing. It doesn't really have too much to do as far as what we're talking about Christopher Columbus, though. So like. He said, I'm sorry, they trusted Columbus to sail, but when they hit land, the people he came with distrust him on land. A little bit of that, but I mean, he was able to become a governor. So even if they distrusted him, he was able to give him enough girls to rape and enough things to do like that. Yeah, Henry, I just kind of said what I was, but I'm not going to focus on that right now. So in this whole thing with Christopher Columbus, you got to understand all those things before we get into all the other things. Before we get into the fact that he brought an Israelite interpreter with him, right, or somebody that at least could speak in Israelite language. Before we talk about the land of Asheroth, which is mentioned not only by the Pope, not only mentioned in the matter of fact, the book and the movie, 1492 is thrown in there. People don't know about that, but there's a lot of different things we could discuss. But when it comes to Christopher Columbus, it's obvious he didn't discover America. First of all, we already know that there's the Olmec She. We also know, according to his same journal that we're talking about, his same diary, that he made it a point to say in there that when I came over, I met people who were black, who looked like Israelites, that who were North African, where we come from, people that I sailed with and stuff. And they said that they spoke Hebrew. We brought an Israelite interpreter who spoke Hebrew. We brought him over with us. He spoke to them, and they spoke pretty much the same language, enough of the same language to be able to speak to one another. And these people who were Taino, who were close to the Olmec She, who he classifies as being black or copper colored with nappy hair. That's how he describes these people. And they told him that they had weapons called Guanine weapons, Guanin, right? And he said they had Guanine weapons, and he didn't believe him because he had sailed with West Africans, so he understood what a Guanine weapon was and where it came from. He was like, "There's no way that's a Guanine." He was like, "Yeah." He said they told him we've already met with, traded with, and mixed with people who are from that place. That's why we carry a lot of their characteristics. Besides the fact that we're copper colored ourselves already, we make weapons, the same weapons that they gave us. We learned how to make them, and when they studied them in Spain. He didn't just take their word for it. He took weapons back to Spain, and they took some weapons back to the Pope. And when they studied the way the weapons were put together, they said that it was the same percentage of metal as far as with their metallurgy and everything. When they put everything together, they said it was the same percentage that they used in the West African weapons as well. So it's obvious just with that, Christopher Columbus is obviously easily not the first person to be over there, because the people that he met, that he admitted to, he wrote it down himself, documenting, oh yeah, these people have been here. And by the way, when he came, he went to Hispaniola. Hispaniola is where Haiti and Dominican Republic are. He went to Cuba. Cuba is not the United States of America, is it? So even to say that he got there is a lie, and anybody that keeps it up is trying their best to keep up a lie. Right? Anybody trying to keep that up is trying to keep up a lie. And yeah, I have no problem with talking about Leif Erikson, a Viking who came by there, or the fact that there are two pyramids there that mean Kemetic people were coming over. And by the way, not only did Kemetic people come there to visit, but people who were of high status, who knew about these things, some of them in secret societies, tried to visit these same pyramids. They still exist in India and Illinois. You got to know where to look for them, but you can go visit them today and go take pictures for yourself. There's a lot of grass and stuff over them, so you got to know what you're looking for, but you can go and find them today. Nobody talks about them. Right here in the United States of America, proof that people were here before Christopher Columbus. We know the Chinese people built forts and things in California before Christopher Columbus came. We know they're Russian people, and that shouldn't be too hard to think about because of the Bering Strait. But we know the Russian people were over in Alaska way before Christopher Columbus came. Left it alone because at first they didn't really have need for the stuff over there, and then started coming back later on before they sold it to America, so the United States of America came back for it later on when they were going ahead to, they found out that they could basically get animal furs and make a lot of money off that from Alaskan animals. You said yes, when they started calling themselves Moors, they were already mixed with Europeans. I missed it, I'm sorry. I missed the first part of that statement. So yeah, when we're talking about Christopher Columbus is somebody who has all types of stuff. And if Christopher Columbus was a black lesbian, well, Christopher Columbus is a lesbian, was a terrible lesbian because he dang sure was raping a lot of little girls. And he was having a lot of sex with beasts. I guess maybe he was having sex with female beasts, so you could say he liked girls, or maybe you call him a lesbian in that regard. But I don't think any lesbian would want to be attached to what that dude was doing. I don't think any straight person should want to be attached to that dude. I don't think any white person, even though Christopher Columbus, now I'll give you credit for this, he's not really white either. Which is something people don't like to talk about because that makes it even more uncomfortable about what he did. All right? And that's another thing too. That's kind of where we're going to end at. You can't discover something somebody already lives in. But this is the mind. It's like, for example, any of you who keep, I always have to hear from people, they're proud to be an American. Problem with that is that, the definition of an American goes before there was a United States of America, right? Well, Christopher Columbus wasn't even a Spaniard. He wasn't from Spain. He wasn't really an Italian. He wasn't from Italy. He wasn't even really a Sicilian. He's closer to being a Sicilian than anything else. But he's technically not even a Sicilian that some people want to go to. Right? He lied so much about who he was, it's hard for people to find out who he is. But look up Cristobal Colon, and then you'll get a little closer. Because that wasn't even his real name. Christopher Columbus, that's not even his real name. Like you got to be hip to who these people are. You got to be hip to who they are. In all honesty, Christopher Columbus, I can't say I'm 100% sure of this. Nobody's really 100% sure, but Christopher Columbus is probably like a tiny bit Sicilian and somewhat what we would call not Hebrew, but what we would call Jewish. That's probably what he was. But he lied so much, and his family lied so much about who they were to try and keep whatever name and face value they had after he got locked up. We really don't know. However many trips he made, he was evil in all the trips. That's my point. At the end of the day, anybody who's trying to keep up something about Christopher Columbus, okay, make him whatever you want. That's not my intent. At the end of the day, I want you to understand the things that this Spaniard, this Jew, this Jewish person, this whatever you want to call him, I want you to comprehend that he did evil. That's really what I need you to comprehend about this man, is that he was out here to do evil. He was not out here for greatness. He did not do greatness. He did not perceive greatness. He did not give greatness. He did not do what he was supposed to do. Right? There's tons of books. Number one, what I was trying to get to before we started getting into this stuff, number one, look up the original definition of an American before there was even a United States of America, when there were just colonies. An American used to be identified, or by definition, used to be a copper-colored or black indigenous person who is native to Turtle Island. That's what an American was considered to be. People, right? That's what an American was, by white definition. It wasn't until the Boston Tea Party, where somebody threw off tea, put on the blackface of the people that they killed off, and then took on their identity and said, oh, we're now the Americans, that you started thinking of American as like a white, chauvinistic, 45-year-old white male type society ruled by them, and everybody else just got to get in where they fit in. That's someone recent that you did that. Somebody had to teach you that. Originally, if you been their time, if you had talked about an American, they would have been like, oh, you're talking about these natives running around, or what you would call natives, right? So these are the things that we had to discuss, right? So, and I'm sorry, I guess whatever rehearsal is going on with whatever marching band is at full tilt. I don't even know where that school is. I hear this like almost every other night, and I have no clue where this school is, where all this noise comes from. Anyways, though, so I just wanted to put that out, that you gotta recognize then no matter what these people are talking about, we didn't even get into a whole lot of stuff we can get into, but just when you look at something simplistic in a simplistic manner and you put context to fact, you got to understand that this stuff is not real. It's just not real. It's just not real. And a lot of people were finessed into believing this stuff was real, and they don't want to talk about this stuff, because if you talk about who Christopher Columbus is, then the person you're trying to make a hero is somebody who killed native people, raped little girls. This is how much he raped the little girls. He raped the little girls to the point to where they could not have children anymore. That's terrible. It's bad enough you rape anybody. It's bad enough you touch a child. But the fact that you would rape them or have your men rape them so much, so violently, and so much that they could not have children. Some of them died because of the rape that was given to them because they're little babies. So you killed the ones that you didn't hit the head with hammers, the little babies, because you didn't want to waste bullets on them. You killed the females because you raped the mess out of them. And by the way, when they say that, they try to be nice. Don't forget that they raped the males too. They raped the little boys too, to where some of them died or bled out or couldn't use the bathroom correctly and died because of that. This is the person that they want you to say, why are you fighting against him? He's a hero. He's the reason why you're here. But you got to understand, if somebody's of the mindset, well, they'll support that kind of evil. I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, independent, whatever. If you'll support that type of evil, you got to start asking yourself, are you in fact evil? Or why would you support it? Has somebody got you so attached to a political point of view that you will support evil no matter what? Because that's really what you're doing when you're supporting Christopher Columbus or Christopher Columbus Day. You're willing to be in a situation and be at a point where you will support evil no matter what. And that is very sad. That's why we have to be careful to never allow someone to push us to the point to where we're worshiping men or worshiping a political party so much that we will do things detrimental to society. That's why I agree with Malcolm X wholeheartedly when he said, I'm not a Republican, and I'm not a Democrat, and I'm not even an American, and got sense enough to know it. Right? Like, when you got sense enough to know that you shouldn't attach yourself to some of these titles they're trying to give you, right? They're trying to give you, hey, be about Columbus. No, be about Indigenous Day. No, be about, okay, whatever it is that you're doing. And look, I'm Indigenous, so I'm not mad at the sentiment, excuse me. I do want you to comprehend, though, know the context. Know the context. Right? Know the context of what you speak. Don't just speak out here and start talking about stuff. Know what this dude did. If you still want to support him after you know that he lied, if you know that he wrote down lies, if you know that he wrote down that he told his men to lie, if you know that he wrote down to tell his son to lie, if you know that he got in trouble, he got arrested. He didn't get arrested by Spain because of the atrocities he did to the people. They knew he was doing all the stuff he was doing over there. They sent him back 4 or 5 times while he was doing it. He was bringing back slaves to Spain, and Spain was giving slaves to the Pope because the Pope said one of the conditions that he was going to allow Spain to go over there is that they had to bring some of their slaves back. So they knew what they were doing, and they had slaves before Christopher Columbus went over there. People forget the first slaves that you want to talk about that were black are ones that were indigenous to what you now call the Americas. What does the name Africa mean? Africa was a tribe. There was a tribe named African people, and this guy Africanus, or they called him Scipio Africanus, to try and, because he conquered this tribe or whatever, and they tried to say everybody that existed in what we now call Africa were under this tribe, right? Just like when people say we're all Alkebulan was a tribe, it wasn't a people. Or if they try to say all of Africa is Ethiopia, Ethiopia was a tribe, it was not the whole the whole of Africa, right? Et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, that's where that name, the most popular name, comes from. We still call it that because there was a Roman who fought. I think it was the Romans. It was the Romans, I think it was like the grandfather or like the great-grandfather, something like that, of the one who fought against Hannibal, who was North African Carthaginian and, Phoenician. It was him, he fought against the great-grandson or the grandson or something like that of the original Africanus, who was Scipio Africanus or something like that. And something Africanus, who was the grandson of Scipio, fought against the Carthaginians or something like that. So, anyways, though, I just wanted to kind of share my thoughts. You guys can have a bunch of study. You probably heard a bunch of things. You probably see a bunch more stuff show up on TikTok. You see people trying to utilize this for like the next couple months, probably, to be able to make sure that they have, Republican versus Democrat or whatever it is that you do in your country, and to get people to fight against something like that. Just don't be had by it. At the end of the day, evil is evil. I don't care what his religion was. I don't care how many crosses he had. I don't care how many missionaries he had. I don't care how many times he said he was doing it in the name of Jesus or whatever you want to say that he did, Jesus or whatever it was. At the end of the day, he was an evil man. And I don't have a heaven or hell to put anybody in, so who knows what his conversation was with the Most High before he died. I just know his resume wasn't looking too good on his way up. And if there could be less Christopher Columbuses, I'm sure that society would be better for it. And I don't say things that strongly about people, but I would say the world probably would have been better off without a Christopher Columbus. However, it is what it is. He did what he did. He destroyed a people. He helped to get it to a place where slavery could be sustained. It still is technically sustained to this day. 13th Amendment citizenship, 14th Amendment citizenship. He did do a lot of damage. It's important that we learn from him, that we grow from it, and that we don't allow anybody to credit Christopher Columbus to the point to where they think it's okay to do this type of thing again. That being said, thank you all for listening. I appreciate the king and queen in each and every one of you. I'm going to take my leave. We're getting ready for class. For those of you who are in Natural Medicine 1 with us, remember, if you'd like to be able to join anything that we're doing for class or with the Yaz Land Project, as far as land, we're trying to make sure that we get for next year, and you want to know more about that or whatever, check out kofi-ofori.com, kofi-ofori.com. Our classes are Mondays are on marriage, Tuesdays on monarchy, Wednesdays on sovereignty, Thursdays, which is tonight, on Natural Medicine 1, Fridays on fibroid cysts, Saturdays on Hebrew characters. So we look forward to having you guys with us, or those who just started with us already. We're thankful we just started our new semester on Monday. So we're excited to continue down this journey, and I'll be back with you guys on Zoom who are signed up for Natural Medicine 1. If you'd like to be able to text us, if you need to get a message to us, by the way, just if you're on YouTube, look in the description box below. It'll be down there. If you're on TikTok, just DM us. Right, but you can also, if you can remember this or write this down real quick, or if you want to do a screen record of this, I'll give you about 10 seconds to set up your screen record if you want, real quick, and I'll give you the number to text, a couple different numbers to text, real quick. Right, you guys ready? I'm gonna give you the number. Here we go. First number, 410-714-5078. Again, that's 410-714-5078. Second number you can text us at is 202-599-7312. Again, that number is 202-599-7312. If you'd like to be able to contact my wife about things having to do with healing and herbalism and her tinctures and her business with that, you can text her at 410-469-1553. Again, that number is 410-469-1553. Lastly, you can find us by just looking for us on any platform, including our YouTube channel name is this as well, but any platform we're on, just look up hashtag Find Kofi, hashtag FINDKOFI, and we look forward to being able to talk to you very soon. On that platform is also the Kofi Ofori podcast, my name, the Kofi Ofori podcast. And then if you'd like, if you'd like to as well, if you want to help us with any donation or anything like that, our Cash App is in our bio. But we have other ways of you being able to donate if you'd like to. But check out what we do first. Reach out to us. Look at the website. Look at things that we do in the community. Check out what we're talking about. Make sure that we're valid and we are who we say we are. Study to show yourself. Make sure that we're up on the up and up. Then after that, we'll make it a point to continue to go down this path. We're on every rising when before sometimes even the sun comes up, depending on what time of year it is. Every rising, we're already up at 8 o'clock a.m. Eastern New York time. So if you want to join us for the lives, we do that every rising. Every evening, well, I won't say every evening, on Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, we're on at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern of New York time. So please join us. I'm going to go ahead and get ready for class and take my leave. We give all praises to the Most High once again, And our prayer is that you not only be hearers of the word, but doers of it as well. Study it, see if it makes sense, and if it makes sense, and if it's contextually factual, then we're telling the truth, right? And it's time to start making sure that you don't allow somebody to bend the truth, and that you live truth, and that you extend truth to others. All right. Thank you very much. And we appreciate you. Yeah, don't forget to rightfully dissect the words. Okay, amen. So we thank you. As always, it's been Pastor Kofing, aka the Shadow Band One, Pastor Sermon to Christ, where we're always changing lives one mind at a time by being a voice of the voiceless and speaking the unspoken until we have the great privilege, opportunity, and responsibility of being in front of you all again. Please remember, as always, that you are loved, you are necessary, you are majestic, you are fearfully and wonderfully made, and you, which is all of us working together, we shall be the reason this world changes for the better. Bare minimum, we'll be the reason why people who are in the system no longer have to be of it. Shalom, fam. Talk to you later. See some of you soon. Peace.